All right, another episode here in Vital Performance Studios. Getting protective about your life. This is the Vital Wire. All right, so we decided to go a little bit more inspiring this week. We've talked a lot about our community, a lot about people in it. We've had some great guests on recently. And now we just kind of both decided, let's inspire some people. Let's empower some people. So this one's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Might go off on a couple soapboxes here.
We love a good soapbox.
Your soapbox looks a little different than my soapbox. So I'll just go ahead and lead with this. Some of y'all have heard me say this before, so I'm just going to lead with see my heart through this. That's kind of like because I do get intense, but it comes from a place of passion. So just see my heart through this. As we start this podcast, Erica's heart's very easy to see. She will deliver her soapbox, very bubbly. See what I did there?
Oh my goodness. You're such a nerd.
So here we go, because we've had a lot of clients, we've had a lot of student athletes, we've had a lot of people ask, we've had new kiddos in the practice, just days and weeks old, and we've had a lot of great questions. And what I love about this is people trust us here at Vital Performance with their life, with their health, with our expertise, our information, our resources, which is really just a big blessing.
Right.
And so, but a lot of the questions we're getting asked, they're great questions. And it's like, man, how do we get some of this information out faster? Because a lot of people are wanting more information on what brands do I use? What do I eat? What do you do when they have a stuffy nose? How do you fix a high ankle sprain? What do you wear the boot? Do you not? What do you take? Do you not take anything? Where do you go? Who do you trust? And it's just like,
Detoxes have been huge in the office too. How do you detox? What do you do?
And, well, what's this blood work stuff you're talking about? Or, I don't want any more steroid injections. And
what are the alternatives?
We have the greatest healthcare in the world as far as critical healthcare. So let me just put that out there, okay? But a lot of people are looking for, what can I do to either be proactive or how can we do this differently? Where can I take my kids? Where can I take my student athlete? How do we look at this differently? And if we are in an injured state, in a sick state, what do we do? What else? I don't want to just shove antibiotics down if it's a viral condition. A lot of parents are asking us now, it's viral. Is there a reason I'm getting antibiotics for this? So these are some of the things that we're getting to. So getting protective about your life. These are all questions that need and should be asked. I think whether in the mom space, in the athlete space, in the family space, whatever it is, a lot of people make a decision because they feel like that's just what has been status quo. But I don't even think it's that. I think it's just they don't know the resources. So as you start to get protective, as we try to inspire you to really be protective about your life, continue to ask questions.
What I think is really great right now, too, in society, it is a very weird spot we're in. We're in a very, very weird time. It's going to go down in the history books as probably one of the most intense and weird times in America. For sure. I hands down believe that. But something that's beautiful that's coming out of this is more people are starting to ask. They're actually starting to not question, but starting to look at other sides, read the back side of the page, and actually intake that information and be like, okay, but why? Or how about we do it this way? Why couldn't we do it this way? Or even in normal circumstances with friends, family, and other humans, it's been really cool to see that as tough as society is right now, as the economy is, as whatever anything is, seeing the questions and the thought processes starting to move in a different direction, even backtracking and being like, whoa, wait a minute, why did we do this? It's super cool to see in our society now.
Yeah, and that's very important. I mean, right off the bat, that's as Brad Lee would say, that's a bomb right there. they're not questioning.
Right.
They're asking questions.
Right.
So they're not challenging. They're not maliciously, whatever you want to call it. They're literally like, okay, got it, but is there another avenue?
Exactly.
What don't I know? Like
Right.
the difference between, Chewy's bars and Annie's granola bars.
Exactly.
The difference between Branch Basics and Tide.
Yep.
The difference between a viral infection and a bacterial infection and what that takes and when the antibiotics are necessary. It's not that like, oh, I'm not doing that. Like, why would you want to do that? They're asking, is it necessary and is there another avenue? So that is a super great point.
Yep.
So as you begin to get protective about your life, your family, just continue to ask questions.
Yep.
And in this space, here at Vital Performance, with everything we do, I've always said, if we don't have the answer, we will find it.
Yes.
But there is no question. It's like, man, I should know this, or, oh, I don't want to be judged. This is a non-judgment zone.
Always.
Protect you and yourself by continuing to ask questions, and let us be a resource for that.
We love the questions. And I personally love when I don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Because then it allows me to learn something new too. Or if I think I have the answer, I'm still going to go research it more because it's so intriguing to me. Like, that is a phenomenal question. Let me get you all of the resources, not just my knowledge.
And here's the thing too. So let me kind of shift this. Here's the see my heart through this part. Here comes a little bit of soapbox and intensity, but this is inspiring. If you're going to ask the questions, be ready to take the answer.
That's one of those right there too. Dang.
We're on a Brad Lee kick. You have to excuse us. But seriously, it's, if you have altered intentions, or if you're just, doing it maliciously to do to provoke a test, and that's fine. You can do that too. But at the same time, like, if you're going to ask the question, be ready to take the answer.
Yeah.
And on the next step of that is be ready to take action on the answer. Decisiveness, and Sean and Lacey talk to us about this all the time.
Gosh,
and
yes.
I've started telling my clients, what the number one, how to kill stress immediately is just decide.
Right.
Whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. But if you're going to ask the question, be ready for the answer, be ready to take action on the answer. And the faster,
open to the answer.
yes. And the faster you make the decision to take action on that answer that you were open to, the faster you get to see it for yourself and then decide if it is right for you. But don't just test, just do.
Right.
So, but be ready for the answer. And it's, we've had people too that, and it's okay. We're here for everybody. We're here for anybody. We may not be for everybody. That's okay.
Right.
But we've had people also see this success and make, oh man, I heard all these stories. And then you give them the answer and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. Or it's like, hey, this and thyroid this and adrenal glands and fatigue. It's like, man, we really need to do blood work. Yeah, I heard, Stacy's doing the blood work thing too. And like, she's had a lot of great results. But I just don't think that's what's wrong.
Right.
She just got the answer. So with whatever it is, high ankle sprain, wear the boot. Not, well, this person told me I need to wear the boot. I just gave you the answer. How did he come back to his game so fast? He was out for 6 to 8 weeks. You brought him back in 2.5.
Right.
Well, here's what I did. Maybe not in this particular scenario. Don't wear the boot. Well, they told me to wear the boot, so I'm going to go, okay. That's fine. So just be ready for whatever the answer is, or whatever the question you ask. Just be ready for the answer and be open to it.
Right. We don't want to hear your buts. We want to hear, oh, awesome. Thanks so much. Even if you want to give a but. If you ask the question and you don't like the answer, that's not on us at this point.
If we hear your butt, you might see our ass. That's what a little. That's when you'd be like, man, he's kind of an ass. No, I'm just very passionate about helping people. So don't give us your butts. I don't want to show you my ass.
Oh my goodness.
Vital wire statement.
It's going to be on a t-shirt.
But that's part of protecting yourself. So ask the questions, be open to the answers.
Yes.
Be ready to take action on the answer. Because here's the next kind of transition, and we're probably going to loop this all back in. And it's another part of like the subcategories that we wanted to talk about today. Because here's the deal. In our health, in our kids' health, in our desire to want to biohack's the big thing, and we've got a lot of cool things in store as far as,
Yes.
I don't really prefer to call it biohacking. I really don't like the phrase, but that's what people know it as. So I'm going to give into it as we start this journey, but we're going to change the dynamic of that. We have a lot of cool things in store to literally maximizing the vital performance of the body.
Right.
But also too, one of the empowering statements we want to talk about in a whole nother topic is, as you see people get well, you see people do these things that you might want to do, and you see them have the successes in their health, losing the weight, kids are healthier, their performance is through the roof, their kids are making varsity, you're having the birth story of your life, or your friends are. Here's what a lot of people need to adopt. Anybody can say you can't. As long as you are not one of them.
Right.
I mean, how often do we hear that? It's like, man, I can't do this. I can't do an aerial, or I can't get this to go away, or I can't do that trick, or I can't throw that hard, or I can't run that fast. We can go into self-speak, and that's something that I work on daily, honestly, but that's a whole nother avenue.
Right.
But in your health journey, in protecting yourself and your family's health, wealth, desires, goals, dreams, let everybody else say you can't, and just don't subscribe to that yourself. As long as you're the one that does not say that, you can really do whatever you want.
Because that negative talk from them is coming from a place of jealousy, typically. I talk to my team all the time about this kind of thing, where it's like they're having issues with essentially what I clarify as or categorize as a bully. Anybody that's telling you can't or that you're not good enough is a bully because they're jealous because
not
they
ready for that.
can't do what you can
Yeah.
and what you're allowing yourself to be able to do. So they have to go on the negative because that's the only defense mechanism they have to allow themselves to feel good about the fact that they can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, especially in today's society with the kids. I mean, getting that even younger and younger now with negative talk from friends, family sometimes, and having to really speak into that into many people, like exactly what you just said. Anyone can say you can't as long as you're not one of them. If you're not one of them and you're saying you can, don't let the negative come in, like you just said.
And whatever you think, you're right. I don't have enough money. You're right. Oh, I'm going to be sick for a long time. Well, you're right. Like, and whatever I can't do this trick. You're right. Like, whatever you think, you're right. So that's a great perspective from the outside. And Erica's, we all are very passionate about, one, don't let anybody, this is something that I guess I say, don't let them rain on your parade. Don't let them bully you. Like the bullying thing, like, no, not at all. I've always told, some of the athletes that I coach, mental personal coaching, some of the athletes is don't let somebody else write a chapter in your book. And don't compare your book to somebody else's chapter.
Exactly.
But do not ever let anybody, and this goes for, health and healing and wellness and biohacking and goals and dreams and aspirations. So that's a great outside perspective. Don't let somebody else tell you can't. Here's maybe some insights into why, they're either jealous or they can't do it either, or that took them longer and they don't want to see you succeed faster. It's like, well, that's just not a friend.
Right. Or they don't have enough positive in their life to realize your positivity.
And a lot of times family will do that out of protection, but at the same time, you got to hold that at bay, take that with a grain of salt. But here's the internal factor too. And this is what I immediately go to because honestly, I've gone through it personally. Yeah. I don't really resort to what people tell me I can and can't do. Mine's a self thing. So also too, if you are saying that I can't, again, don't be the one that says you can't. Anybody else can. You can't. You cannot let yourself do that. So if you're the one saying I can't, why are you saying that?
Right.
Why are you giving into that? What is the story that you're telling yourself? So yes, the student athletes, I talk to that a lot about too. But more importantly, as I think about what we're building here and what we do in this office is, oh, I can't ever be as healthy as her. Oh, I can't ever look like that. oh, I can't ever get this to go away. I can't ever get off my medication. I can't, like, why are you telling yourself that?
No kidding.
Is, do we need some self-confidence? Do you not have anybody around you? Do you not have a shoulder? That's like, I get that. Like, I'm compassionate. I'm empathetic to that. So it's not like, well, why are you telling yourself that? You shouldn't tell it. Like, because I get that there's times where it is hard. It's not always easy. And we don't always know your story. And anybody out there, it's like, why is the person honking at me in Starbucks to go faster? I can't go. You don't know the other side of their story.
Right.
Maybe they're honking at you because they just found out that a family member was in an accident on the freeway and they're trying to get through the drive-thru. Don't just assume that they're just being a jackass. Like, you don't know the other side of the story. So I use that very quick off the top analogy to say, we don't often know your story, but we do want to know it. Do you not have anybody else around you, anybody to pour into you? Have you had a struggle? Do you have some apprehension because of a situation? Do you have a previous, something previous happened to you where it is tough and you haven't talked about it? Like, so just why are you telling yourself you can't? And find the people around you to support you and ask for the resources you have around you and leverage us, because even though we might be able to help, but at least if you know that you can come here and this is a space where you can say something, if we don't have that capacity or that know-how or that resource in-house here, we will find it and we will help you do it, because the last thing we're going to let anybody do from a health, wealth, goals, aspiration standpoint, especially in this freaking awesome community, is let anybody in the next generation say, I can't. Not going to let it happen. Just won't.
It's a non-negotiable. You can't say you can't.
Yep.
But too, from the other side, if you're super good at positive talk and you are a super I can person, maybe take that person that is the I can't and allow them to tell you their story.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay,
that's
whatever.
good.
Like, all right, well, I'm just going to disengage you from my life. Instead of, directly taking. Because sometimes negative people just don't want to be a negative Nancy. Yeah. And it is what it is. And you have to continue to pour into your positive side and not let it drain you. But if it's somebody that you truly care about, and it's somebody that you've noticed recently has had negative talk, instead of saying, oh, okay, whatever, kind of brushing it off, why not say, okay, but why? Yeah. That's when I want to hear your but.
Yeah.
Because the negative talk could be something in their life that they haven't gotten to speak on, or that they need to speak on, and they're using the can't as a, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Look at me, for the first time in their life, or whatever that might be. But really take it upon yourself to seek that I can't person out sometimes and help flip their I can't to an I can switch.
Yeah. And that's a big growth perspective too. Again, just another great point. And, a lot of times we do this off the cuff, and I just love how we kind of just feed back and forth.
Yes.
But that is also you personally, like you're the one asking, okay, well, can I just ask why you don't think I can, or why you're really cautioning? I just want to know your perspective. That's also a great growth, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a great growth moment for you, so to speak, to take feedback.
Right.
Again, that's asking the question and being ready to take the answer, like we talked at the beginning. But that's feedback. And what you do with that feedback, like, not all feedback is meant to be implemented. Right. Feedback is feedback. So if they tell you and they're like, well, I just don't think you need this. I don't know if you realize this, and do you know much? And you could probably take a lot of great info.
Right.
But you'll also be able to weed out the people that are like, well, I just don't think you can. And they're just hating to hate. Exactly. And then it's like, well, is there anything that I can help you with? Like, if it's worth it. At the same time, it's like, you know what? Well, I understand that. I'd love to have you part of the story if you want to be, but this is what I'm going to do.
Right. Sometimes haters going to hate.
Right. I like to think of, and this is where I'm going to touch on this real brief, because this is where taking things with a grain of salt, just because I've started thinking of my life as a stadium. Ooh. And I say that because you pick your favorite stadium, whatever it is. It could be Enterprise, or the Blues play, or American Airlines, or the Mavericks play. Like, I'm going to speak in that building one day. Mark Cuban is going to ask me to speak in that building. I'm just going to speak that. There's things coming that hopefully allow for that. But whatever building it is. Thank you. See, this is why I married her. Think of my life as a stadium. and my people in my life of where they get to sit in the seats. What ticket do I give them?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh man, they get front row on the field. Okay, cool. Are they, as you work up to the nosebleeds, do people maybe not get into the stadium, but maybe they have a big screen at Ballpark Village that they can watch it on? Cool. That's called keeping people at a distance, so to speak. Like, that's okay. But also, who's in the locker room? Who's backstage?
That's good.
And who gets to watch at home? So here's the thing. Like, the Blues, when they sell all these Jameson tickets, which are very cool seats,
They are really fun seats.
they're not excluding the people that are sitting at home.
Right.
This is off the top right now. I love this because this is what people need to hear. And this is a lot of guilt that I rid of a long time ago. It's like I want people around me. I love the environment. I love the energy. But it's the people that are in certain parts of the stadium. It's not that I don't want them to be a part of my life or, you just you're not pushing them off. You're not excluding them from your life.
Right.
You're just allowing them to be and play at the level that they want and need to play at without affecting who's backstage and who's in your locker room and who's on the field for you that's helping you in championships and whatever your goals are.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. It's like I am here. There's people that, that I have in different sectors of my stadium that if they're at home watching and they call and need something, their car won't start, I'm still going to go over there and help them.
Right.
And so it's just because the thing with that is that's only going to allow you to continue to say, I can more. The people that you very carefully put at the proper areas of your stadium are only going to help you succeed more.
So true. And you do have to, right back around, like you just said we were going to eventually, that's get protective about your life. That's the definition. Whether, we spoke on health, we spoke on all of that, but the people that you let enter that backstage view, that locker room view, it's so important to be protective about it because you let in the negative self-talk, you let in the bullies into your mental space where you have an I can mentality, it quickly can shift.
Bullies aren't just physical. Yeah.
It can 100% be a mental game, and more than most times nowadays, it's a mental game. Because two, you have your stadium, and you have the friends at home, but what can't we get away from anymore?
Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah. No doubt.
You can't get away from anyone. Phone call, text, social media, messenger, Instagram, anything. There's no way to get rid of all of that. Unless you just completely disconnect, which is not physically possible right now.
Right.
It's really not possible to be able to do that. I applaud those that can. However, in today's society, you really can't. So if you have those negative Nancys, so to speak, on your social profiles, you can't let them be the locker room friends.
Right.
Because it's way easier now to at least ignore that or unfollow. But if they're your negative speak on social media and they're in your back office, essentially, it's not going to set you up for success.
No. So use those platforms, like flip it around.
Yes.
Like I am the least drama person. Like I don't like it. I confront it just to see, if it's something I did, is it something I can help with. But those platforms are, yes, unfortunately, like society as a whole defaults to the negative.
Yeah.
Like you could ask somebody, it's like, hey, can you help me? No. Hey, do you have it? No. Hey, do you want $1 million? No. Like, it's like you just slip it in there. So switch those platforms to leverage something positive and unfollow the people. Don't unfriend.
Yeah,
you don't have to
unfriend
unfriend them.
No.
And maybe they circle back around and, there's a shift and, then you follow them again. The elevator only stays at the ground floor so long. And
your life's elevator.
yes, and in situationally, life as a whole, like it's going up. Like it's only on the ground floor for so long. Let people get on it,
Right.
but be okay with the door shutting, and don't let people hold the door open with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But leverage those platforms as a positive, and let people see your true life if that's what you want to do. But don't let that be a negative, just a negative microphone into your head speak. And this is why too, it's, if whatever you think you're right, and don't be the one that says I can't. I tell people all the time, use those things there's a lot of positive. You have to find it. There's as much positive on there as there is negative. And it's crazy how we go to comfort. We stay in our comfort zone, and it's so easy to find the negative and the lack of growth areas. And I tell people all the time, it's like, do you do Audible, or do you read books, or I don't have time.
That's the biggest
like,
argument
okay.
or butt you'll ever
Well,
experience
I
in your
can't
life.
because I'm at work all day, or I can't because I got kids in the car, or I can't. And it's like, okay, well, you can tell yourself that all day long. But at some point in time, it's going to be worth it for you to make a change. And obviously there's not enough value there yet. So let this be a calling. Like, there is so much value in our lives that we are not allowing to come through, happen, find. And it's not always easy. Do the work. It takes some work. Do it now, but listen to things. What fills your cups? Like, there's so much inspiration out there. It doesn't have to be all the things that I listen to, the Brad Lees, and we love Sean Lacey at Black Diamond Club.
Yes.
And there's so many things that we listen to and are a part of every week, every day. My gym, every morning, whatever podcast I'm listening to, very uplifting, that speak to me, and it can be totally different for you, but find those things. You have to. It's kind of like the saying, I can't afford to. No, you can't afford not to. And it's just, so find those things, commit to being, I can't afford not to, even if it's 30 minutes a day. Start with 15, start with 10, go to 15, go to 30. You will find that you will naturally want to wake up earlier because that's the times where you can do that, and you won't miss it. So allow those things, the podcasts, the audiobooks, find the things that fill you up, that you want to learn about, that you want to be inspired with and by, and have a couple of those things going every day, and then leverage it.
We've talked about on a few different podcasts now about your bucket being full. And it's a very great point to start cultivating that bucket with nothing but positives in your life. Something that Lacey and then also my coach Cassidy talks about all the time is God in his abundant universe is working for you and wants to bring in abundance and positivity in your life, but you have to allow it. You have to flip that can switch on and keep that positive light going, and he will just continue to pour into it. However, if you allow the negative, if you allow that one person in that back room that shouldn't be there into your life, or on that elevator, keeping that door open, it's going to be very hard for God and his universe to work for you if you're allowing those demons into your head.
Here's the other thing that was super fun as we begin to wrap up here, that it's so good. And let me just make it clear for everybody. When we say universe, when it comes out of our mouth, we're talking about God's universe. I'm just going to say that right now.
God's universe.
Like don't get it twisted. So you can take that how you wish. I just want to make it super clear that, when we say, and a lot of times we will preface God's universe, but when we talk if we say, man, the universe speaks, it's like, it's God, it's the atmosphere, like the current we live in, this universe is, So let's just clear that up right now. But also allowing the positive things, allow people to do things for you. This was fun at a conference. There's been very few times where I've caught myself. It's like, no, I'm okay. Actually, it's like, hey, going to Jimmy John's for lunch. Did you want me to get you anything? No, I'm good. Actually, even if it's just a pickle. Like, can you get me a quartered pickle? Like, let people do that. Sean and Lacey said that. It was immediately right after a good friends of ours, that evening of that conference ended, and Rye, who practices in Chattanooga, she comes up to me.
She's such a good human.
Hey, Doc, can I get you a drink? And I was like, no, I think I'm good. Actually, Rye, you know what? I'll have a double vodka soda, three limes. I appreciate you. She goes, that a boy. Like, let people do that for you.
It makes them feel good. It makes you feel good.
Otherwise, you're just cutting it off too. Like, God's giving you the ability for somebody to do something nice for you, to give you something that you might not have other had, and then you just cut it off.
Sling.
Yeah. So, but allow that to be an exercise here going forward. But protect your life, protect what's in it, protect your health. If there's anything we can do for you, particularly as I've started this student athlete personal coaching, it's been super cool. If there's a student athlete of yours that you want me to work with, us to work with, we've got a lot of great resources coming out with that too.
Yes.
stay tuned for a lot of great things this spring. Racing starts this weekend. We have some cool programs coming out, potentially another brand, which is awesome.
Amazing.
Super excited to serve here in Cottleville. Hope you have a great start to the spring. Avoid the tornadoes.
Yes.
See ya.